GG, look.
Right. Sorry.
I think we're live.
You're alive. But probably nobody's watching, so that's fine. Hey, I'm Nick from Typehuman. We're here hanging out with the Flex guys, Tom and Alex.
That's true.
Yep. We're probably just going to talk and sort of try to pretend that nobody's listening because they probably aren't.
Yeah.
But yeah, to set the scene, Typehuman or myself had an attempt at doing podcasts early in the year. Didn't really turn out so well, so this is like a reboot. Well, there was some good parts. We interviewed Bridie; she was awesome. We published that one, and then we did a few others that probably more from my fault, didn't answer our questions, didn't get the best out of the other people. So this is a reboot. Super keen just to take it casual and.
We've also tried doing podcasts, but they generally descend into a bit of madness. So they were usually Friday afternoons or one afternoon. So Christie's Spaces, the place we used to work, had like an infinite supply of Redskins.
Yeah.
And so we would eat
another misc lollies.
Another lollies, and we would oftentimes just eat like 5 Redskins and then decide to do a podcast, which results in a lot of mania and crap.
A lot of them are unpublishable for the sake of our professional career.
We probably made one worthwhile podcast.
Yeah.
What was the motivation doing the podcast?
Just having a laugh in it.
And also it's a good way to like channel your energy into something that ideally you can leverage, like produces some value for a business. But like when you're really fried, when you're exhausted, then you're like, I can't.
It's a good like 3:30 p.m. activity. To go and wind down and just yell all your mania, like direct all your frustration at something else, some arbitrary construct that you just decided that you're going to be.
The FlexStap newsletter does really well in written form. It's not going to go so well in like audio or visual form. Is that what we sort of say?
There's no face that you put to the FlexStaps newsletter, so kind of you don't attribute any like any random nonsense that kind of in context feels offensive to anyone.
The newsletter's never offensive, but it often like makes your eyes bleed when you're trying to read and you're trying to read along and you're like, what did that sentence just say?
Yeah, well that's kind of my purpose, is to try and to make a sentence that is really horribly constructed but still makes sense. And then so it says something and you have to figure it out.
Decipher it.
Yeah. It's quite a fun challenge. But the Flex podcast, oftentimes it had nuggets of wisdom in it. Like one time I asked Alex about gender politics. And that was a lot of fun.
What's your position on gender politics, Alex?
Well, that's a great question.
You have to listen to the Flex podcast to find out.
I'm very diplomatic.
Yeah, we did publish that one. And
I think you named it Two Cis White Men Talk About Gender Politics or
something like that. Yeah, gender pronouns.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't want to repeat it now.
Yeah.
It's not offensive.
It's very fair. It's basically me saying, I don't know anything. Please educate me.
There's some interesting stances on that. There's like a lot of minorities out there at the moment that are saying like we're done educating privileged white men on issues of.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, well,
but I need education. I mean, how do I find it? Do you know?
Yeah, you got to Google it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Google shows me things that Google wants me to.
Google are based in California, which is a very blue state. Yeah. I'm gonna find very biased things if I search on Google potentially.
Yeah, you could do.
I don't know. Anyway,
what would you Google? What would the question be that you put in?
Well, that's the thing. Until you actually have a reasonable understanding of something, you don't know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
In the context of that podcast, I'm asking a question like where I think that there's like this like logic error, this like recursive problem to do with like having infinite amounts of pronouns, and then I'm basically asking, like saying, here's what I think is a fair solution. Is that okay? And then nobody answers because we have no idea.
Yeah, we're on a podcast. You can't answer. That's the point. That's half the point.
But
maybe turning it more like tangibly. Do you guys think about diversity in tech and Flex?
Absolutely. It's something that is like on our mind a lot, and it's something which is really hard to reconcile. Because
for context, we have a bunch of employees. All of them white dudes.
So every single one of our employees is a white man.
We have some work to do. That's
absolutely
to set the scene.
There are 8 of us in total, and it is a struggle. It is something that is like holds a lot of conflict, because on the one hand we are a small business and we're trying to do our best to float and not sink. And on the other hand, we want to set a good example for what a business should look like and what a diverse team looks like. And it's oftentimes really hard to reconcile that. Like the candidates that often stand out as being people who like are great hires and can hit the ground running are the vast majority of the time not white males.
Are white males.
Yeah, not white males.
Is it?
Yeah, sorry.
Is it that, or is it just that when you're a small business owner, like speed to make decisions is often more important, and so you go to what's close and comfortable?
Certainly,
like
being decisive is really important. But there's also like other than what we currently do, which is so every Wednesday we run an event where we just invite anyone who is interested in Web3 technology to come and learn about it. Knock heads with other people who are interested in it. It is a very like open and free event. It's free food, free beer. Well, not salads anymore.
Yeah,
salads
people got sick. I got sick.
Yeah.
Literally?
Yeah.
Suboptimal.
Properly sick.
Well, the salad had salmonella.
I don't know, but yeah.
It was a bad day.
It was a bad next day.
For Alex in the toilet.
Yeah. Wow. So it's salad gave you food poisoning.
But sense, man.
So, all right, that one's slide. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's a wonderful event, and we get a lot of people to come along.
Yeah.
And there is a gender bias towards men, and as a result, I think when women do come along, they're oftentimes really outnumbered. Well, they're pretty much always really outnumbered, and so they oftentimes don't come back.
Yeah.
Which really sucks.
Yeah. In the early days, we used to get Gendry, who runs Flight Plan, who is a woman. She used to like bring a couple of female friends who are in the space, and just the kind of purposeful self-organization of a few women like meant that we had a much more balanced community. But since that has stopped happening, like women come and they're very outnumbered, and they come less than the dudes sort of attend. So there needs to be some kind of that was a really good window for about like 6 weeks or something. We had this window where it was almost 50-50, which like would be very hard to achieve given how like disproportionate, like how many more men there are in the industry generally. But yeah, we had like a group of like women that would attend. But yeah, there needs to be a group that self-organizes to make sure that happens.
You need like a critical mass of a particular gender for it to be welcoming for them to come.
Yeah. And there's still women that come like in general that aren't bothered. But I think the combination of being a learner as well as being outnumbered is something that I think is why people don't come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Because the other work that you can do is be very proactive in other areas, and you can go out and you can try and find groups of women and try to get them to come along. But it's a lot of work. Like it's not work that I think is like a waste of time. I think it's very valuable work. But in the context of also running a business, it's really hard to justify.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was getting at earlier, and we had a conversation maybe 6 or 9 months ago when we were looking to work on a project together, and I think I said to you guys, it can't be another white dude. It has to be a woman. Completely sympathetic. We're all, as a small business owner, we're faced with a whole bunch of different decisions to make, and it's like, do you invest time there, or do you go with what's close and easy, and then like
you also have this kind of feedback loop of like also speaking to Gendry about this topic, she has no problem hiring women, but that's because women want to work with her because she's a woman who's running her own business. And so like 22-year-old like young guys that are just graduating like want to work with us because they see us as role models. So there's like it's that's also a factor as well. When we were chatting to Seth, this is not verified information, but we were chatting to our friend Joseph, who was a developer at Google for a very long time, and he said something that really blew my mind. I don't know if this is true, but like he's not someone to just say things that are nonsense, because he's a person with amazing technical skills, but said that Google in Australia will contact directly every female computer science graduate in the country.
Jeez.
So it's like and I tried to Google this. Like I have tried to verify this, and there's no information about this.
Mystery of truth.
So who knows if this is true? But certainly they have the capability to do that. And so like for places like, and if you were a woman, you would want to, then there was a huge demand for technical women. You would go work for the raddest places. You wouldn't go work for a pair of idiots like us, who, you know,
A pair of idiots with a few more idiots in tow.
Yeah.
No, it sucks a bit. But I mean, everyone that we've hired has come out of that community. So it's, you know, we encourage everyone to come along regardless. But
I mean, on the big organization front, ThoughtWorks, who I worked for a little bit, they had a policy of, and again, I can't remember, so it's sort of unverified right now, but they certainly won the diversity awards in the tech sector ahead of Google and Facebook for the last few years. They had a policy of every male graduate that was hired, there had to be 2 females also hired. And then they quickly struck 50-50 gender balance across most ranks in the company, except for maybe a little bit towards the senior end. But they've just disbanded the KPI, like the metric-based approach. But I guess bring it back to like us as well. There's this short-term versus long-term decision-making in businesses and like in tech as well, like tech debt, like how much tech debt is acceptable tech debt. And maybe this is like a culture debt or a management debt that's an acceptable trade-off given where we are now, but at some point in the future it could become a problem. And it's part of that tension.
It becomes harder to make it equal the more like the bigger you are and you haven't intervened.
Culture just sets in. And then it's impossible to change. I mean, we cohabit with the Loki fellas who are also have a tech company, and they have a single female in their office of 13 humans. You know, it is prevalent. That's for sure, and it's difficult. I think they also struggle with it.
So other than like this, what else are you guys thinking about?
Loads of stuff. We're turning our one company into 3 companies, which is going to be loads of fun. Because we get to name 2 more companies. So we're creating a holdings company, which will own our services business and our investments arm. And our holdings company is probably going to be called Bag Holdings.
We need to think of a good acronym for bag. And we were thinking boys and girls holdings, but someone pointed out that this has like weird, creepy undertones.
Potentially.
I didn't. That's not what
I also didn't think about that.
But bag holdings is pretty funny.
And then our investments, I want to call downright capital, downright investments. Just because up and to the right is a funny meme. And down and to the right is funnier.
It's the opposite of what you want.
But you got investments and holdings. How are they different?
Holdings will own investments and the services entity.
Holdings is just at the top.
Okay, gotcha.
Where you put all the good stuff like the IP.
Okay.
Give people equity in the holdings company.
Right.
But there's that. But that's just boring company nonsense.
What are you looking to like? What are the 3? What are you looking like? Why are you thinking of this structure?
Just because we've started formalizing the equity that we're giving employees. And so trying to figure out a way for that equity to make sense for them long term requires us to rethink how the services business works. Because if the services business ever goes under, we still want the equity that we're giving those humans to represent the work that they're allowing us to invest in by making a profit on them in the services business. And that's not directly owned by the services business. I mean, it is currently, but it probably shouldn't be. Because we don't want to have to liquidate that if the services business goes under. So the holdings company owns the services business. They have equity in the holdings company. The holdings company owns the investments, which actually holds the equity and all the other things that we do.
And the reason why we need like a separation of concerns from the services business is just we've done a bunch of like sort of weird bespoke arrangements with people where we're sort of like partners in projects that we've like worked on. And so we've just like found a lot of people want to team up on stuff. So now we have to get not tax and legal advice, then tax advice, then legal advice.
So how are you guys thinking about your services business over the next like 3 years? Are you starting to take
don't know. Like it is one of those things that kind of just seems as though it will trade horizontally until it doesn't. Like it's kind of it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, continuing to scale services seems risky. We have a lot of people that we are now responsible for. And if we lose a client or two, we can no longer be responsible for those people. It would be very hard to do that. And so, and getting much larger than we are now, you know, with 8 people and 7 of them on like kind of billable services, or 6 of them, I guess. It's, if we were to hire 2 or 3 more humans, at least one of them would have to not be a tech person. They'd have to be a manager.
We need middle people.
Structure. And then that changes your organization fundamentally. Like you now need, like now process comes into place, like the developers have to work differently. Things start changing a lot. And so I guess what we're trying to do is leverage the position that we've created for ourselves with the services business to invest in things that we think are going to be successful. And kind of try to leverage the services business as much as we can to invest in those things, but if necessary, not scale it. Like we've already, so MStable, for example, is one of these projects. They've just gone out to try and raise $1 million in Hong Kong and China. We supplied kind of an initial developer to them to kind of help get them off the ground, and we kind of fronted the cash to get that person to work on it. But since then, we've kind of not wanted to take responsibility for any of their other developers. Like we kind of wanted them to build an internal team, just because it means we have to manage less. Like we actually just do less now. And that's really helpful. But and so we've taken equity in their project. They're going to run off, and full disclaimer, we have equity. But it's less of a burden on us now, because we've kind of got them on their own legs.
And the services business kind of gives us exposure to a bunch of interesting projects, of which we can kind of decide what we think has legs.
We can decide to take equity, or we can decide to just pull someone off the project in 3 months if we think it's not worthwhile.
So I think I kind of see us going in the direction of something like a Block 8, where there's a services component, and then there's they kind of are trying to. They have exposure to a bunch of different projects and ventures, and it'll be and even with a structure like this, even in the future, we could have 100 grand sitting in DAI and just be lending it on compound and be making 8%. Like there's just lots of things that we can have exposure to, and then just share in the profits as like a mafia. You know, it's like how do we get all of these really wonderful people that we work with, like aligned, given that we have absolutely no idea what the future holds, and we just want to have exposure to an optionality. I mean,
8% in DAI, 100 grand is like an employee salary for a year, so you expect to get more than 8% return off of it.
But who knows? There's a million DeFi, but we could have an investment that is just a bunch of cash sitting in DeFi.
Or in crypto assets.
It doesn't have to be a venture necessarily that consumes our time.
If you have crypto assets, you can take a loan out on them, and you can use that loan to pay your employees. I thought about doing that for a little while. I thought about taking out a CDP to invest in the company. Which ultimately I decided not to do. Because paying 16 or 20%, it probably wasn't 20% at the time. It was probably like 11. But even paying 11%.
And there's absolutely no tax guidance on these things. So on one hand, doing them as an individual is cool, but doing them as a business is like, hey, ATO, how do we pay tax on our collateralized debt position?
So maybe just take 2 steps back in case somebody actually listens to our podcast and explain DAI and collateralized debt positions.
So DAI is a stable asset on the Ethereum blockchain, and you create it by locking up Ether, which is the base asset of the Ethereum blockchain, which is currently has a market cap of like $30 billion, something like that. You lock up Ether and you create DAI, which is the stable asset, which is pegged to a US dollar by virtue of lots of funny arbitrage mechanics, basically, that we don't need to really worry about.
So you put in 100 ETH into a smart contract, you get 70 DAI back.
If that ETH is worth $100 each, then you've just put in $10,000 worth of ETH, and you can take out up to 66% of that in DAI. So you can pull out 6,666 DAI.
If the value of ETH goes up, then you have you're actually able to draw down more because you've got more collateral there. And if it goes down, then like a leverage long position, you get margin called, and then the magical computer money programs will buy back DAI from the market using that money they've taken from you, and then destroy it, so that then the DAI is always backed by this collateral, which its value is always changing.
So we've got to find an easier way to explain this to people. So I think and there's a lot of moving parts in there. So I think to strip it back, maybe it's about saying it's kind of a return to a crypto asset based fiat currency. So at the moment we've obviously got the fiat, like reserve bank controlled fiat, print as much as they like.
Yeah.
This system uses crypto assets to ensure there is some like asset underpinning the fiat that's in circulation, or the crypto fiat in this case.
Yeah.
And there's some maths that goes on to make sure that like that crypto fiat is sort of maintains a stable price point at the USD.
Yeah, rather than like fractional reserve banking where money is not backed by money, it's backed by, it's over collateralized, and which is great.
Under collateralized.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Ethereum?
Yeah, DAI is over collateralized,
which means it's not very scalable either.
Yeah.
Because you can only have 66. Like if your total value of Ethereum is $100 billion, you can only ever have $66 billion worth of DAI.
Yeah.
Which is less than ideal. You might need more than that.
Yeah.
And that's if you lock up all the Ether and CDPs, and then you have no Ether to pay for, smart contract executions and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, it's very odd, but it's really useful. Like I was about to take out so my ledger doesn't work, but we'll get onto that story in a little bit. It's a funny one.
The funds are Safu.
Matt Riddle just popped in. I'm just going to say, sorry, we were about to go out there to do this.
No,
we're okay here.
I don't mind. I'm going to
Cool. Thanks, Matt.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I was about to take out a DeFi loan a couple of days ago to finance a car because I thought, why not?
Yeah, that's where you're about to go now, isn't it?
Yes, I'm about to go and test drive a Volkswagen Golf GTI because why not? It's in bright red is my only concern. I have to paint that.
So what else is happening that you're excited about? So there's collateralized debt positions.
Bona Wallets. Bona Wallets is the thing that we're most excited about, I think. So you didn't come to our house party, which was a real shame. Because we deployed the coolest piece of tech that Melbourne's ever seen at our house party. That's not
a bold claim.
It is a bold claim, but it's true. I'll back it. I spent 10 days in a cave building a Bona Wallet. For those of you who don't know, a Bona Wallet is a crypto wallet where the private keys are just stored really unsafely in your browser.
But you burn them when you're done.
But you treat it as a wallet that you don't really care about. You burn it when you're done. And
it's like a wad of cash.
Yeah, I don't know if we've had this chat. I'm super excited about it for music festivals, and we've started sort of reaching out to some of our networks. So if anybody's listening and runs a music festival, get in touch.
Yeah, please do.
Because we saw on Fire Festival, because of the huge success, they had thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.
Guerrilla marketing from Rocket Shoes.
Very, very nice.
We're live streaming at the moment.
Should we put it on the mic? Just on here.
Like the big music festivals like Coachella and Fire have got these bracelets that they use for cashless payments.
Yep.
And I think before that, they were like you must have seen the paper tickets. You had to go buy your paper tickets and then you redeem them for your drinks at the drink bar. But there seems to be like this appetite in the small to mid-sized music festival market that you can't afford the infrastructure to do these like bracelets.
Yeah.
Do like Bona Wallet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you've ever used a crypto wallet before, you'll know that they generally suck. Yeah. They're generally really hard to use, or the first thing they show you is 12 words. And if you don't write those 12 words down, then your children will be auctioned off.
I lost a lot of money not writing things down.
Yeah, you also but don't do that if you care about your money. But the purpose of the Bona Wallet is you don't really care.
Yeah.
So to like set the scene, this guy Austin Griffith, he's a dude from Colorado, really smart, really kind of wants to push the space forward. Spent a lot of time building games when he first got into Ethereum. And then he put them out there and he play tested them, and people were like, wow, this game looks fun. But then when they started playing it, they had to use a crypto wallet, and crypto wallets suck.
Yeah.
So you would play the game and it would be really slow and really I have to sign transactions every time. It would be really arduous. So then it kind of got him thinking, okay, well, how can I make the experience of using crypto better and easier and more fun? So we created the Bona Wallet as a kind of experiment in that. It's like, okay, generate a private key, send some money to it, and then it's a wallet wherein you don't have to type a password in to access it. It's just there for you. You don't have to type your seed phrase down or anything like that. It's just instant onboarding.
Yeah.
He then tested that out at ETH Denver, which is a big Ethereum hackathon that we went to in February. Mm-hmm. And everyone who walked through the door, so it was about 3,000 people, got a Bona Wallet with $40 on. And that money was used to pay for the food that you were going to eat during the hackathon. Yeah. So there was 12 food trucks lined up outside. You would go and scan the QR code on the food truck. You'd pay $8 for your food. And then at the end of the event, the food trucks just cashed out via the event organizers.
Yeah.
So about $40,000, I think, changed hands between attendees and food trucks.
Yeah.
And it cost them about 20 cents on the main chain to settle that, because they did all this on the Ethereum sidechain, which was a bit faster than Ethereum usually is. So it was a really great proving ground, tons of knowledge, loads of transactions made, and loads of data. You could figure out who was the food truck that people liked the most. Mm-hmm. Why did money change hands for other reasons? Lots of interesting stuff. Mm-hmm. He then did another study with some kids at a university. He built a shitcoin exchange into the app. He called it. It was a little game where you basically bought and sold shitcoins.
Yeah.
And were they emojis or memes?
Emoji coins. Yeah, and they fluctuated based on a block hash. So it was pseudo random. Wasn't actually real.
Yeah.
But you could make a real profit playing the game. And it was really easy to play because you just press a button and a transaction happens. You don't need to sign anything. You don't need to press approve. There's no confirm dialogue. And so of these 60 students, I think they made a couple thousand transactions in 40 minutes or so, because they're all just sitting there and tapping their phones.
Yeah.
And then we, being ambitious people and quite a bit stupid, decided that we were going to build a Bona Wallet for our house party, because we wanted to have a little microeconomy where the only reason we wanted to do it is because we wanted to have a VIP zone.
Yeah, it started
for no other reason than we have gold watches for all of our employees, and we wanted to give them a benefit.
Yeah. We started by selling pay what you want VIP tickets, not knowing what those meant.
Yeah.
And people gave us way too much money.
Yeah.
Someone gave us $50 for a VIP ticket to our house party.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
And then so then we were like, crap, we need a way to have the VIP area work. So we were like, okay, we'll have a roped off area in the lounge room of this house party.
But that's just going to be co-opted.
Yeah.
We need somebody's going to have to guard that.
Yeah. So
we don't want to do it. It's our party.
So we need to get an air tasker person to guard it. And it's this is getting expensive. How do we make money on this party? Okay, well, what if the VIP tickets were governed by a Harburger tax, wherein people would buy them off of each other, and then there's an incentive to be transacting them, and we can make money on a spread or something like that. And then we were like, okay, well, now we have to build a Dapps for our VIP area.
Yeah.
And it just kept getting out of hand.
It got really out of hand. We ended up building 6 Dapps. We didn't just build one for our VIP area. We built
a wallet with 6 Dapps in it.
Yeah, we built a Dapp that would get a tarot reading for you. We built a Dapp that would make everyone else's phone make a fart sound.
Yeah.
We built a Dapp that allowed you to sell a photograph 3 times and only 3 times. Yeah. Andrew, one of our friends, built a Dapp that was basically a rebuild scheme.
Yeah, it was rebuild of one of the first projects Tom and I ever worked on, where we took Andrew's lunch money.
Yeah, he built another app, and the best app that we got was one of our friends, Andy, had built a boat racing Dapp, and we were like, hey, we should integrate the boat racing Dapp into the Flex wallet, and so allow people to gamble on boats from their phone.
Yeah.
And then we can have the screen where you can see the results, see the actual race on the TV in our living room. Yeah. And we did, and it was fucking amazing. Yeah. It was lots of fun.
It's people punters at the races, just instead of holding their tickets, they're holding their phones.
10 boats having a race at once. The people making hundreds of thousands of flex bucks on this stupid game. So but 23% of all the transactions on the night went through that contract.
So we had over 600 transactions at our house party, which was
and half of the people. So we had about 70 people coming on board with the wallet, and the onboarding process was great. By the way, you came into our garage where I was sat, quite stressed out because some stuff wasn't working, tech issues. And you would put money in a bucket that was transparent, so everyone else could see how much money was in the bucket, just because we like flexing on people. And over $1,200 Australian made it into that bucket.
The market cap of our party.
Yeah.
1,200 Aussie.
And so, like, you would put money in the bucket. I would send you flex bucks, and then I just fucking send you on your way upstairs. Go and transact. We told people to bring stuff to sell.
Yeah.
There was a guy, your friend John was selling cookies.
Yeah.
We had a guy buy pizza, get it delivered, and sell it by the slice.
And people brought little mini succulent like cactuses in little pots and sold them like at a farmer's market or something. Some people bought like fidget cubes and things that they'd bought ages ago to try and sell off of AliExpress. They brought those and
Aaron
dumped them
from WeWork drew a picture of a horse on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
And then Andrew paid to take a photo of it. So he paid her to own this digital art.
And then erased it.
But
he was very upset because someone else took a photo before he erased it.
We had an auction. We sold off all the nonsense crap crypto merch that we've accumulated over the course of the year.
Sold an EOS t-shirt.
We sold a Block 1 t-shirt.
Block 1 t-shirt.
We sold one of our own hoodies.
Yeah, we sold a H Cash coin.
We sold a Doge NASCAR what would you call it? Die cast, little NASCAR.
Like a Matchbox car.
Yeah. And so at the end of the night, did you get to keep the cash? Or did people redeem?
So a bunch of people cashed out. So we let people cash out. There was a 10% spread.
This is a very incriminating podcast, by the way.
Yeah. Don't listen to this ATO. And we made some money.
Yeah. We broke even.
We just about broke even on our house party.
Yeah.
But there was 70 people. People gave us a lot more money than we expected. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's over 100. That's over 100 a head.
Like $15 a head, roughly.
Sorry, 15. Yeah, so that's is terrible to laugh.
It was a lot.
Yeah,
it was way too much. We did not expect it.
There shouldn't be any tax implications, should there? It's just a house.
Oh yeah, but I mean, there was maybe a bit of illegal gambling. Not really.
Yeah. Is it gambling if it's a false coin?
Don't know.
Oh, you
this is the problem. This is half the problem. We have no idea.
So much innovation, unknown amounts of crimes.
Yeah.
Well, you remember that when you used to be able to buy, how old are you guys?
26.
26, yeah, maybe not that much. Anyway, you used to be able to do premium SMSs and you could, so apparently a lot of people got screwed over by that.
Right.
So the government's making it illegal.
Oh, because you would buy the Crazy Frog ringtone and then they would charge you $1.50 a week or something.
Sort of lure people in. But what that set the telecommunications companies up to be able to do is basically become a bank.
Right.
As soon as you can start paying things and then billing it, or a credit card, because then you can just bill it to your phone bill. So there are some companies out there that provide services to other web apps that allow you to bill things within the parameters of the law to your phone account.
Right.
But there was something to do with gambling that was linked into this. It's like you can't buy physical products, but you could buy like fake internet coins in order to then use in a mobile app.
Right. Okay.
Well, luckily our house was run on fake internet coins.
Lots of
flex bucks.
Lots of fake internet coins. The exchange rate was $1 to 1,337 flex bucks.
Right, because we just wanted to make it complicated so people would forget how much money they were spending.
Yeah.
And it did. It worked. Like people at the auction were like 50,000 flex bucks, and they were like, it's like Icelandic krona. You go over there, and it's like $10,000 for a jumper. You're like, oh, that's monopoly money. You buy it, 60 pounds.
Or the opposite way, when you're haggling with somebody over 100 pesos and you realize you've just eventually, spent 10 minutes arguing over 50 cents.
Yeah.
Should have just taken, given the guy the 50 cents, really. Awesome.
But yeah, so like that, we feel as though we've kind of, the use case for burners and how easy they are to transact, to utilize to transact cryptocurrency is kind of proven. Like we're pretty happy with that as validation. And Austin, the guy who's who kind of started this thing, has so much inbound demand.
Yeah.
Everyone wants him to spin up a Bona Wallet. Everyone wants him to add their app to the Bona Wallet. Everyone wants him to just work for them, basically. But they don't want to pay him much. They don't want to hire him because everyone's poor.
Yeah.
So they just want to give him a couple $1,000s to do it, like these tiny services arrangements.
Yeah.
And so we are kind of in this position where we see the potential for a venture, we see the potential for a product company, which kind of allows people to create and deploy burner wallets for that particular event. And has these configurable things where you can select which apps you might want, the default one's scarce ticketing, a little dice gambling game, some weird stuff like that. And then you can like maybe allow people to top up and buy more of your currency over the weekend or the day that you're running the event or something like that, using an integration with a Wire, which is a credit card thing that allows you to buy crypto. I don't know, loads of stuff.
Yeah. You can as a sponsor like pay people directly for their engagement in an event as well.
Yeah.
Like show up to my booth and get Monopoly money, or show up and pay buy a drink and we'll give you a t-shirt or something like that.
And there's a bunch of games you could build into it as well. So we're actually we're trying to go down this path. We don't really know what it takes to obviously we'll have to probably raise money because it's a product company, and there'll have to be some people that aren't us that are kind of running the company, and maybe they pay us to build some stuff for them. Don't really know. But we're kind of just setting out on this path to doing that.
Where does it what's the, not the conclusion, but where does this go? So where do it go? How does it go from house party to something that's perhaps more normal?
It's a good question. There's a couple avenues, I think.
Festivals make a lot of sense. Like these large scale sort of microeconomies wherein you're already selecting a handful of technology partners to make sure that your thing can run fine. You need Telstra to set up these big things so that everyone has internet there, and you have one ATM where there's a line halfway around the festival, and a superior tech suite of technologies for running something like that.
Festivals, conferences. So to dwell on the festival example for a second, if you had a bunch of food vendors at your festival, and you were able to if you use the Bona Wallet and cryptocurrency to allow people to pay, then at the end of the festival, you have this data that nobody can manipulate about which food trucks made the most money, where they were located, what time they made the most money, and what products on which they made the most money. And that data is really valuable. You can price your locations in the festival better next year. You can figure out which types of food trucks you need to get back, or which types of engaging things you need to get. If people are paying to throw balls at coconuts or some shit like that, there's a ton of different things you can learn about your audience if you have that data that's unfalsifiable.
Presumably they're these vendors are leasing that space as well, so you can sort of justify the lease space.
Exactly. And for conferences, you can if you have these little apps built into the wallet, you can charge sponsors an extra amount, platinum tier, build your own app into the wallet. And the app gives people a way to engage with your product. It allows them to learn a bit more about it. They get some reward for doing so. There's lots of different ways in which you can kind of engage people digitally with an app.
Or especially when people put their name on the app that is the traditionally performant one, which is whether it's dice or whether it's I think my girlfriend came up with this premise that was imagine just having a game where you get rewarded for connecting with people, and then you actually have a bounty board for these people have at Consensus, people was the people who had booths were scanning people's passes so that they could then send them marketing things after the fact and capture their data. Whereas if individuals were doing that with each other, and then you had a bounty board for the person who has met the most people, suddenly there is a bounty on that person's head for you to meet them, and so you go and you meet them, you get points, and then you have this, you can gamify and create incentives for people to behave.
And if there's a financial incentive to do so, you're more likely to do it. And if you can have that financial incentive be represented by some silly crypto asset, it's even easier. There's a bunch of.
Do you think we'll see a renaissance of community currencies? There's the Bristol Pound. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
So Bristol Pound is a real world community currency, and it's these community currencies are generally set up to encourage spending in local areas. So you could. I live down in Torquay, so I could imagine a Surf Coast Shire community currency that's you maybe if you're a employee in the region, basically you get paid in this local currency, and it's aimed to help stimulate the local economy.
I see no reason why not. And these are all the things that were kind of cited when the first crypto boom occurred. Not the first one, but the latest one in 2017. There was all of these use cases were coming to the surface about community currencies. that made a lot of sense back then, but the reasons they kind of fall down is because cryptocurrencies are really hard to use effectively.
Yeah.
They suck. Like, nobody wants to learn how to use cryptocurrencies. I don't want to have to learn how to use cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
I just do because it's really valuable to me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to teach anyone. I'm sick of teaching people how to use crypto, and I hate it. Like, it sucks.
Yeah.
You have to stand up. I wrote about this in a blog post that I made about the Bona Wallet, which is that the cryptocurrency wallets are rubbish. Because if you're trying to get your friend into crypto, and you're like, hey, let me pay you back for dinner in crypto. He's like, I don't have a crypto wallet. And you're like, okay, it's really easy. Just download this one. Go here, download it. And then you have to stand over their shoulder and just be like, okay, yeah. Screenshot those words. You might need them later. Like, oh, click next. Oh, yeah, you can't paste them. Yeah, it's asking you for those words. So, like, go look at that screenshot. Yeah, you can't paste them in. You just have to type them. Like, it is a really horrible experience for somebody who's uninitiated to download a cryptocurrency wallet.
Well, we've been talking about this in one of our other projects and some of our larger clients, but I think humans are very fickle as well. If you open an app, like, the app is kind of needs to be single purpose. Just because an app can do everything doesn't mean it should do everything. And so a lot of the crypto wallets as well are almost like geared towards Forex. Sort of, it's for people that want to hold like multiple different types of currencies. It's going to get mainstream. You know, if it was a community currency, like maybe it's crypto that powers it, but it's like, it's the region's app and it only stores one token and it's used in that area.
Well, that's kind of the stance we have on this, like in this burner ecosystem, because there's a couple camps, right? Like Austin built the original burner wallet, and it kind of does everything. Like you have the ability to like make any kind of transaction and send any kind of token and do all that kind of stuff. And what we built for the house party was very opinionated. It was it's one token. We don't use the base asset. We just use a token. And you play all the games with the token, and that's it. And it was really quick. I built that in 10 days.
There's no exporting your private key. There's no like where the central bank will just restore your money on a trust basis.
There was no 0x strings anywhere. There was nothing that looked complicated. The most complicated thing you saw was a QR code. I'll show you. So
like this is it. You just have get.
Hold it up.
You just have get, send, and apps.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what more consumer friendly wallet needs to start looking like.
It was it was the buttons were giant for drunk people. It has notifications in it natively, so it tells you when you've received money. It tells you when you're sending money. Like it shows you a little loading spinner. It's very usable. It's very pretty. Like the feedback that we got from a couple of people was that it was fun. When was the last time you heard anyone say that using crypto was fun? Like, it doesn't happen.
Especially during a bear market.
But so that's one of the ways in which we're kind of proceeding. We're actually working. I'm kind of had a couple of calls with a guy called James Young, who's the inventor of Farmville. So he is kind of he has.
Who's Farmville owned by? It's not just
Zynga. I think it was Zynga. Zynga now dead?
Isn't Zynga known as quoting to their employees, "Do not innovate, just copy"?
Yeah, maybe. That's hilarious.
That's quite funny.
I don't know.
I think Zynga famously lost a lot of money, but they have this weird model where they make all of their money from the 1% of their customers that obsessively spend all of their money on Zynga games.
So, I mean, what's the interest? Because in the gaming industry, I think there's a bit of a pushback on these in-app purchasing games. Like, sure, there's a lot of money to be made, but
maybe. I mean, if the gaming industry is pushing back on it, it's not working,
right?
Because Dota 2, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, even I imagine some of the Call of Duty games now, have in-app purchases.
Right. FIFA. It's just so easy to publish a game, and it's so easy to put in-app purchases in it. That there's this kind of if you're a game developer, you have no money. It's a very good deal if someone says to you, "Hey, I'll publish your game. We get 1 million downloads on every game that we have because we have these big channels, and then we're going to take 90% of the money, and then your game is then suddenly your game's dead, and then there's a lot of garbage out there." But all of the people who are actually very good at making those kinds of games are still very successful. So
but I mean, when you have in-app purchases, it's generally for cosmetics. You generally don't get better.
It's kind of the optimal strategy in the mobile world is to have a combination.
That's
to have
true,
the Candy Crush style mechanic where it's you pay to be impatient. You're not getting something that other people can't, but you're getting it sooner.
Yeah. That's certainly true.
Like Clash of Clans.
And I don't see why that's so awful. Like if people are willing to pay for it, take their money.
Yeah. And if people expect it for free,
then
it's up to you to convince them to hand over their money after they've already downloaded it. That's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, two things come to mind. One is a question which I'll come to, but the other one's maybe a bit more like textbook, which is we seem to be moving into like a services intangible economy anyway, which means like more of our money is spent in these things like I guess like in extreme cases like on these virtual products. But I guess the question then is like thinking into, let's say, not quite digital natives. I don't know, who are the 18 to sort of 20-year-olds around at the moment, and like where are they likely to put their money? Is it in like these digital intangible sort of things, or is it like, because that's kind of the signal to me.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like our, so we are in our, like we're 26. We've played a lot of sort of PC games, like so we kind of saw the emergence of cosmetic in-app purchases in competitive games, and also the emergence of like these like buy the special coins that get you things faster in-app purchases.
World of Warcraft, was it? That had like people that had a secondary market for some of the assets and
the in-game gold, but that was always against the terms of service to do.
So like that's even more of a signal that people are interested in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you innovate, and you have to break the law to innovate, but there's a demand for it.
Very weird.
I'm conscious you guys need to get to a test drive, and I don't know how long.
I got to get to a test drive, but it's at 6:30, so we could probably go for another like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
sweet. You want?
Yeah, let's not break it artificially. But where's she from here? So Bona Wallets, like, you guys are clearly passionate about that, which is cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's a.
We want to drag the ecosystem along, and this is something that has clear traction.
There's a lot of very non-commercial people in the ecosystem as well that we're kind of we look at and we're like, that seems silly. I think you should be more commercial. One of the clients that we work with is exceptionally commercial, and they're really good at it. And they see opportunities and they're like, right, how do we like turn a profit out of this? How do we kind of make something that aligns with the values of the ecosystem, which are transparency, openness, being a hippie. But how do we make sure that we make some money on the side? Because that's how you build a company, and that's how you ultimately drive the industry forward. Is if you have enough money to deploy in places that you think are valuable. Yeah,
we're struggling with that with the identity tech space at the moment. Like, it's pretty clear not pretty clear. We think it's clear where the SaaS opportunity is to make the revenue, but that kind of sits maybe not quite in place with the big evangelists of self-sovereign identity or the Web3 way. It's kind of like, how do we start to build companies that are sustainable today that can survive into that?
It's really difficult. Like it's very, very difficult to build a company that aligns with all of those values. And I don't fault people for trying, but I certainly think there is a lot of evidence to say that rethinking the way we work and trying to work in a decentralized way and trying to like do all of these things where there's no leaders and no boss and stuff is just completely nonsense. Just build a traditional company and release traditional products. And don't try to scalp people, but try to get users, try to get traction.
Be successful and embody some values that are good. Don't just be a radical and never do it. If you can't build something that is that doesn't like at least threaten the platform business model as well, like we're not actually making any reasonable change.
Who do you think the most vulnerable platform business is at the moment?
That's a great question.
I have no idea.
I mean, I think Amazon is doing a fantastic job of preserving their exceptional monopoly. Google restructured themselves quite deftly, like 6 years ago now, 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know. Facebook just makes fundamentally no sense to me, and I feel like it has there's more people hate Facebook than like any of these big tech companies, but
But you need it to message.
Yeah,
it depends on the demographic.
Yeah,
as well.
but I'm also like a person that has access to loads of services. Not someone from like a developing country where like my first touch point on the internet was a mobile phone, so I probably don't have enough data to say that Facebook is going to succeed or not succeed. Like it's going to be those people that are Facebook, like that Facebook builds themselves into their lives.
I mean, the global coin play from Facebook seems very WeChat-ish. Like it's, WeChat, for those who don't know, like built-in payment facility, pretty ubiquitous across China and probably Asia. I see WeChat stickers all through Chinatown here and other places. So I'm kind of imagining Facebook's global coin is just a play in that direction to say, okay, now you can pay using Facebook at certain outlets.
I mean, it makes a ton of sense. It's really smart for them to do that. I don't see why they would not do that. Like building a currency, it comes with a lot of risk, but they're also they are facing a lot of risk currently.
Do you think it's really going to be a currency though? I can imagine it being a settlement layer.
Magic internet points. It'll just be a number in a spreadsheet. Which is effectively what a currency is anyway. So there will be ways that you can on-ramp and off-ramp, I'm sure, but they'll be very siloed.
But I guess that's maybe where we're sort of entering. Nobody really knows what this global coin project is, do they? So I'm speculating, but I feel like it will be using crypto payment standards, so like QR codes for the wallet and QR codes for the vendor. But then, aside from that, this global coin is used as a settlement coin, in the background, to sort of interface between those two QR codes and make it cheaper for Facebook to keep a track of all these transactions. But ultimately, then the consumer's probably still just going to be presented with use your Visa card to preload $20 into your Facebook wallet.
I have no idea.
Well, you can already buy things inside of Messenger, so it makes sense to bring more of that into Messenger. Maybe it is a PayPal type thing where it directly debits your account or something like that.
But I mean, my mind's gone now. That seems to be what's being disrupted is, if you're Tyro and you own all this FPOS hardware through the city, as a merchant or as a consumer, you no longer need to rely on these financial hardware networks in order to make payment or cashless payments. Or Facebook or WePay or anybody needs to do is slap a QR code sticker on the front counter. And
that's one of the things that we realized with this silly wallet game as well, is anyone can be a vendor. You literally don't need a point-of-sale system. If you're running a festival, you don't need something where a user can tap their credit card. Just have a QR code. That's it. It's done. You suddenly, your Tyro is no longer.
So hopefully, maybe Facebook Global Coin will just help sort of normalize this idea that you just need a QR code to accept payments, and then the gates opened to all these other things.
Potentially that would be great.
The other thing I heard about with Amazon was there was some regulation proposed or talked about, I suppose, not quite proposed yet, that said if you're a platform owner, you can't sell your own products on the platform. And this kind of felt in response to Amazon starting to, because I think that's the biggest complaint. They can see where consumers are starting to spend their money and then offering their own products into the.
Well, you certainly wouldn't want Amazon to do the same thing that Coles and Woolworths do, where they push other people's products off the shelf, and then they're just a big incumbent. Where there's nowhere else to buy stuff.
I mean, it's the effect of just having a market, though.
But it would make sense. They would want to do that. It gets rid of one side of their two-way marketplace that they don't have to manage, or makes it one side of it them, which is good.
What do you mean?
If you buy things off Amazon, if Amazon doesn't have to provide services to merchants, they just buy everything themselves. And then you just have more spooky robot factories.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's an effect of having markets. That you'll just if you own the place where other people have to if you own the commerce rail, absolutely, you have the ability to just bump people off. And you kind of want your regulation to be strong enough such that happens less or doesn't happen as much. But I think it's one of those things that a company like Coles or Woolworths will always be trying to do. It makes sense. It makes financial sense.
I can't figure out how to translate this into this context, the specific Amazon Coles example, but one of the other examples that's coming up a bit at the moment is this sort of journalistic freedoms and Facebook and social networks. And apparently the conversation has been, is Facebook and Twitter a utility? And in which case, like, you can't hold them accountable for the stuff that's posted on there. Or are they like a media company, in which case, like, they can be held responsible for like hate speech and these sorts of things. And the comment was made that there was a point in time in which this like social network as a utility play was still possible for them. As soon as they started taking down some content, they're no longer a utility. They're no longer a neutral utility. So they're now going to be started to be treated as a media company and held accountable to these things. And I guess if you were Amazon, I would have thought I can't quite connect the dots, but like you want to be positioning yourself as more of that utility. We're just a broker here,
What's the risk of the latter? Is it that like the government says you must do this, and then because of like the scale at which your platform is leveraged, it's just impossible, and then you have to just field lots of fines and implement lots of shitty neural nets like YouTube does?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I guess like antitrust and monopoly comes up a lot, and then hence the threat of regulation or breakup. If you're Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook itself, what else do they own? Oculus Rift, whatever else. So the government could force it to be broken up because they're not a utility; they're a media monopoly, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's freaky. I don't use Facebook. I try to avoid all of try to avoid these giant products. I still use Google because it's very useful to me, but Facebook has no utility to me. Facebook and its kind of like suite of social tools, apart from WhatsApp, which is just useful for contacting people who use WhatsApp. There's no utility.
I have WhatsApp to talk to the two people I know that only have WhatsApp.
I begrudgingly use WhatsApp. And it's on mute.
I have Facebook Messenger to talk to my high school friendship group and my mum.
It's really funny how like they become platforms for just stealing your attention. Like Facebook, and I noticed this first on Instagram, and then later Facebook as well. But like you're scrolling down Instagram, eventually you'll hit an ad, and that ad will be so different from the things that you've subscribed to in your feed that you'll do a double take, and you'll actually be kind of forced to consume the ad by your own brain, because your brain's like, wow, this is weird alien content, and then you'll look at it and you'll be like, fuck, it's an ad, and then you'll keep scrolling, and then you'll be like, but because you've put that energy into viewing it, you're probably more likely to remember it.
Have you seen TikTok? TikTok's addictive. That's so addictive.
Amazing.
Not for those reasons. Have
you been watching TikTok like with morbid curiosity? It is pretty bizarre, isn't it?
I've selectively followed certain people so that I don't feel like a creep, because
there's a lot of children
over-indexing on like
I think we downloaded TikTok on your phone at one point. We were watching it
we interacted with a live streamer. A streamer on TikTok, and it was very odd. I didn't like the experience at all. It was. I deleted it.
I feel like some of your content would be would be well suited for it.
I agree. Unfortunately.
I think one of the few of the channels I've followed, the Red Bull channel, is like super cool. Like 15, 20-second clips of wingsuits flying through cliffs.
Right.
It's almost like Instagram video. Like that's
but for somehow it's more engaging than Instagram video for some reason. I can't.
Do you ever look at the sponsored content inside of the Snapchat stories panel?
No, I didn't quite go to Snapchat.
That's some of the most
truly awful, truly like lizard, like lowest level of your brain content.
Imagine, the Daily Mail links that you see on the internet. You click a Daily Mail link, and it's just one, an awful article, but two, just like the surround is just like click on this lizard nonsense.
Another teenage pregnancy.
Exactly. What has the Duke of Cambridge done now? He's got a mistress, and it's Snapchat is like that, but for 12-year-old brains. So it's even worse. Like it's truly horrific. It's all things like about puberty and like growing up
and video gaming. What a live streamer on Twitch did in one particular moment.
Influencers, like check out Kim's new beach bum, like just all of this really horrible stuff that is for kids.
Like interactive tabloid magazine nonsense.
But it's literally aimed at preteens.
Yeah.
So how are you
really
guys,
horrible.
Like, how do you guys think about content marketing then as business owners, but up against like ugly?
Well, we don't market to 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
So you're not using Snapchat as a channel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we use I'm kind of the belief that like it's very easy to use the things like Twitter and LinkedIn, like things that people expect to see your business on, but just to post things that are like don't like follow the format. You just don't like. Yeah. Like people are like.
You signal that you understand how to be successful on LinkedIn by creating content that is just kind of a bit horizontal.
Yeah.
You know, and you kind of like, this is generally what people would do on LinkedIn, but I'm going to change the format. I'm going to do it this way.
This is what you guys do really well, though, which is what do they call it? Attention arbitrage is maybe how to put it. Like you guys are really good at hacking attention and doing things that slightly diagonal and
like you kind of. People expect to see a particular type of content on LinkedIn, and when they see something else, they're like,
and people are on these channels because they're like restless looking for something.
Yeah.
And so the promise of like following us is that it will be original content. It won't be like what you expect to see from a business.
Yeah.
I think like
there's a template that's getting sort of well worn into LinkedIn at the moment, which is like the template of like posing for a photo with Richard Branson, even though you've like just you don't really know him, you're just signaling to people.
Had an amazing week this week. Learned so much about myself and my business, and I've created my 7 rules for success. And like here they are. Let's watch my video series. Like it's all, and then like you tag like 20 people in the bottom of your post.
We haven't done any LinkedIn videos yet, but we
did. I mean, we did the recruitment video, which was pretty hilarious.
And the vlog, the first vlog.
Our first vlog was great.
Yeah,
it was a bit too long, but it was great.
I should put this on LinkedIn. Probably will.
Yeah, do it.
Watched it
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it leads with 3 white guys discussing gender politics, so I think it'll be really performative.
That should be the headline.
Yeah,
this is the other thing that frustrates me.
Put a big exclamation mark in the thumbnail, like black bars across the top, like a zoomed in photo of this, and then like
rotating white emoji.
Gender politics. Like, and someone's gonna be like, oh, I hate myself. Let's do it.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah.
This is like the thing that pisses me off about some of the like successful content marketers. They're clearly using outrage as their hook. And some of the stuff just becomes like lazy outrage.
Donald Trump, most successful content marketer out there. Outrage.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Which is like a fine line to walk, right? Like, you guys seem to have a good handle of not going down that line.
Yeah, well, we're not the commander in chief, so you got to have some. If you want to forget all the rules, you have to have specific legal power over people.
We're also very, very good at masking our opinions. They don't actually know what we stand for.
Yeah,
I have a sticker on the back of my laptop that says fluoride. There's poison in the tap water. And it's a giant bumper sticker, and it's bright blue. And people look at it, and they look at me generally like I'm, they're interacted with me at that point, or maybe haven't, and they're like, "This really? Does he believe this shit?" And then they come and speak to me, and they'll kind of like they won't ask me directly.
What do you believe?
They won't ask me about the sticker. They'll kind of talk to me and try and get a feel for me, and I kind of notice people are cagey, and then like eventually maybe they'll ask. I've had a couple of people. It's great though. It brings the crazies out. It's fucking wonderful. Eventually you get people who will ask about it, and then like they'll tell you what their beliefs are without you even asking, and it's great.
So that's the diagonal place in how to stand out in content marketing and LinkedIn. It's like putting something about yourself forward, but the game that everyone's playing at the moment is like an ego game of I know better than somebody else. And so how do you like dislocate yourself from that game? And
it's pushing something out, where your kind of ego is tied to the fact that you've pushed the opinion out, not the fact that you hold the opinion very strongly. You know, and you kind of like, hey, this is an opinion that some people have, and you kind of just aren't necessarily one of those people. You don't tie yourself to it, and then you force a dialogue, and you can not necessarily control the dialogue, but you can certainly influence it without actually being in a position where people can attack you and take you down.
Do you follow Gary Vaynerchuk at all?
No. I'm aware of the format of his content, but I don't follow him. But he's the classic. Like he's very aware of the. He's just a data-driven content marketing dude. He's just always like, here's an opinion in 30 seconds. When I hire people who crush crush fruit in their hand.
Yeah.
And if they don't crush fruit in their hand, their parents didn't raise them right. and then that's it.
But he's authentic about it. Like, in his defense, like he was one of the originals. Like a lot of people are copying him.
Yeah. It's always like leading with, people always ask me this. It's like, hey, what are you doing here? Well, let me tell you what you're doing here.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I'm going to buy the Jets. But like him and many other content marketers will say, like, give value, like, bring it back to what you guys are better in blockchain. There's a level of market education that has to happen at the moment as well to bring people up to speed. So do you see you guys playing what? So
as being educators.
Yeah, I guess so.
A bit. I mean, like, but we do it.
Doing actually good content is really hard, though.
Yeah, and we kind of don't try to go out there to educate people, but what we'll generally do is like try and educate ourselves and learn a bit more about what it is that we're doing and what we think will be successful, and then as a result of that, produce some content which provides value to everyone.
Yeah.
Like we wrote a couple of reasonably long pieces about the Bona Wallet party, just because we thought there's interesting insights.
Yeah.
We just published them. Like, go and do what you like with this. It's very free and permissionless, like ecosystem.
Yeah.
And you can't stop anyone from doing that. And that's kind of how we give people benefit from what we do, I guess.
Yeah.
But we don't necessarily actively set out to teach.
Yeah.
It's kind of I don't know.
We do on our Twitter. We do poke a bit of fun at like blockchain, like stock photos and stuff like that.
That's great.
And
I
those
feel like you
things,
guys have dialed it up a bit lately, I've noticed.
yeah. Well, I kind of just schedule up a lot of memes. Like there's either a lot of like, I feel like Twitter is optimized for like engaging with a person, and so like us saying, you know, hey, we did something, engage with us, discuss it with us, gets a lot of engagement. But then if we don't, like us going to New York or something like that, schedule up a bunch of just garbage, like what I suppose like young people call shit posting, which is just like, it's just self-referential content. Like it's content that's like acknowledges that it's awful and and references lots of other awful content. It's weird. We've just had so much like of this stuff piped into our brains, being like this generation. So I feel like it's very easy to be reasonably like deft and self-aware about it. But we don't make any actual content that's that good because it takes a lot of time. Like we write stuff. You write good stuff.
Write good stuff. Yeah.
But we don't. But like
you make a lot of shit.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's easy.
Yeah.
And unless we did it for a very long time and put a lot of energy into it, it wouldn't be that much more performant to make really good video content because you have to build out your audience over time.
And also, who is our audience? If we're trying to shill our services, like there aren't that many people who are looking for blockchain solutions that are trolling LinkedIn, watching videos of blockchain services companies, be silly.
Yeah, the best strategy is just to like get noticed by people that are like clever enough to identify parody and like things that are reasonably self-aware, and then build what we can do.
Yeah, and I'm very strong on the opinion, or I'm very of the opinion that building a following of fanatics is a very small following of fanatics is much better than building a very large following of people who kind of don't really care or know what you're about. And so there are some people that follow us on Twitter that love engaging with us, even though they're like. There's this one
Multiple
guy.
people have written "I love you" flex Dapps to us on Twitter.
There's a guy, Brian XV. We've never met him. He makes charcoal art with cryptocurrency, like public keys.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brian XV.
We love you, Brian. And he retweets all our stuff. He likes all our stuff. Like comments on it. He's a nutcase. We love him.
Yeah.
Love him to bits. Yeah. And we have a couple of those people who are like fanatical about supporting what we do, and that's really valuable. It's exceptionally valuable. And it's far more valuable.
Moderate our Discord server for us, and
literally
do so much stuff.
Do loads of free work for us. So, I don't know. Anyway, we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah,
but get fanatics.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I need to think of a good closing, like cash cry.
Yeah.
Road test something. So Adka email went out the other day, like nominating blockchain professionals. Have you seen that awards?
Yeah. We applied.
Oh, yeah.
God, come on.
Maybe
we've done some good stuff.
Put some bets on who's going to win each of those categories.
We should start a prediction market.
I couldn't. Not publicly.
No, absolutely publicly. That's hilarious because then they have a financial incentive.
A prediction
That's the
market.
purpose of a prediction market.
A prediction market we could do, but I don't want to give my predictions.
Yeah. Well then, what's one ask of the universe for you guys at the moment? What's on your mind? What do you hope for?
Ethereum community. reinvest your crypto assets into making Ethereum successful.
Not even. Just pick up the tools. Build real companies.
Yeah.
Stop building fake.
Build
false companies.
things that can fail
Stop
rather
building
than
hippie
things
circles.
that never stop solving unfinishable problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hippie circles.
Yeah, there's a lot of hippie circles. Stop it. A lot of collectives.
Yeah.
We don't need another collective. We need a company.
Well, yeah, thanks very much for hanging out.
No, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, this is the question. Nominate someone to sit on the couch.
Oh, good call.
Ooh, yeah. They have to be Melbourne-based. You dial in.
Oh, either, yeah.
Pacino.
Mike Pacino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pacino's a goodie.
Yeah, he's very smart.
Is there someone outside of the obvious, like Mark Pacino's?
The crypto space? Is there someone outside of the crypto space?
Not so much outside of it, but there's like in Australia and Melbourne, I'm noticing that there's some common faces that are appearing.
Certainly.
Like Mike is certainly one of them. So he's amazing, but is there anyone outside of like the John Basilius, Mike?
Hey, that's a good question. Ellie Rennie?
Yep, she's sitting here next week.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I don't know if she's scheduled or not yet. But yeah, I'll know
Awesome.
that.
Kirsten?
Kirsten, I don't know.
Joni Pirovich,
They're two new names to me.
tax lawyer, Hall and Wilcox.
Yep.
And I'm going through. This is how I find the top friends. Is I look at the people I've had meetings with.
Yeah. Kirsten Jarrett created the Proof of Location Alliance,
All right.
which is super cool. She's doing some work with some people at RMIT, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very
Local
interesting.
Ethereum Michael.
Is he based here as well?
Yeah, he's got an office in Richmond.
Cool.
That's probably that's heaps. So
Yeah.
I'll dig out the details off of you when we're not live streaming. But Kirsten,
Her number is 04.
what was the J?
Joni.
Joni Pirovich.
Yeah. And
Kirsten, local Ethereum Michael.
Yeah.
awesome.
Bunch of
Yeah, local Ethereum Michael runs a real business.
Yeah.
You should get him on.
apparently 12% of, or more, maybe it is. We were chatting about this in Prague at DevCon. 12% of local Ethereum's customers are from Venezuela.
Awesome.
Very
I
interesting.
used it the other day
Yeah.
to sell some ETH.
No, you didn't.
Clean trade. Oh, yeah, I didn't. That's a lie. I gotta go.
Cool,
Thanks,
dude.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Take it easy.
Thanks, guys.
It's time to